Hello, you're watching News 9 Live, and our top story today. It's been 17 days since the 41 workers have been trapped in Uttarkashi, but now there seems to be finally light at the end of the tunnel. Rescuers are said to be barely 5 meters away from the trapped workers. They have completed more than 50 meters of horizontal digging. Over 43 meters of vertical boring has also been completed. Barely 5 to 6 meters of horizontal digging is to now complete, according to sources. The relatives of trapped workers have been asked to be ready with clothes as well as bags. Authorities from home state of the workers have already arrived in Dehradun. Rains, of course, will not affect the rescue operations, say the officials. Like I said, 52.5 meters of horizontal drilling has already been completed, and now barely 5 to 6 meters remain to go. There was a lot of apprehension about rains, but then rains shall not affect the rescue operation. The officials are extremely sure about the entire operation, and also relatives who have already arrived in Dehradun are ready with clothes and bags to welcome their relatives who've been stuck inside the tunnel, the 41 workers, for 17 days, and now lots of rescue operations have been put into organization. And also you just saw Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami there, also taking cognizance of where the rescue operations have reached so far. There he is. He has been briefing the Prime Minister almost every day and many times a day, say sources, about the progress made. Yesterday, of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Telangana also said we all need to pray for the safety and security of 41 workers who should come out safe and secure back to the world and back into the arms of their relatives. Now, the rescuers adopted what is called rat hole mining technique to try and reach out to the workers after parts of the auger drilling machine were broken, and of course they were removed last evening. Engineers from the Madras Sappers, experts from Coal India Limited, Trenchless Engineering Services Private Limited and Navayuga Engineers Private Limited were among those who were involved in the rat hole mining technique. Besides the horizontal digging, vertical drilling to rescue the trapped workers is also underway even as we speak. Over 50 meters of vertical boring has already been carried out. Those are the visuals from the rescue site, even as vertical boring is now in operation. 43 meters of vertical boring has been completed.
Very big time for everybody. We're doing everything we can. 41 men home safe, no one hurt, and I'm feeling good. When we have 41 men, I'll talk to everybody forever. We've been positive before.
Yes, yes.
And I'm positive today. And today is the first day I said, I feel good.
Yeah, you feel
I've
good.
never said I feel good before. I'm saying I feel good.
Yeah.
41 men home safe, no one hurt during the rescue. I'll talk to you for as long as you wish when we're done. No, I just feel good. 1 meter, even if we were 1 meter, and please don't report me as saying as I am, or we are, or someone, I'll be in big, like, even if we were 1 meter, 1 meter is still 1,000 kilometers under an avalanche.
Right.
Because you never know what's coming next. If there was an earthquake right now, which there often is, 1 meter is another 1,000 kilometers. The drilling on the top of the mountain is coming along perfectly.
All right.
Right? In the tunnel, it's coming along very well.
Supporting you guys.
Yeah,
right?
so I feel I feel good. I've never said I feel good before. Yeah.
Sir, what is the progress?
Okay, I'll give you a quick soundbite and then you leave me alone, okay? So they've gone very well last night. They've just crossed 50 metres. It's about, let's say it's about 5 or 6 metres to go. They're just putting another pipe in, so we're expecting some good results later today.
Sir, we have crossed 50 meters. It is very big achievement.
It is, yes, very big.
So how much left?
We think probably another pipe 6 metres.
5-6 meters only left.
Yes.
So how much time it will take to reach 5-6 meters? Total 57 meters?
It depends on the ground, but we haven't had any obstacles last night, and it's looking very positive sometime today.
Now let's understand what exactly is going on, although there have been encouraging reports coming from the digging site. Now, with large metal pieces hindering the machine drilling, the rescuers are now planning to drill through the remaining few meters using the practice of rat hole mining. So what exactly is rat hole mining? Here, decoded for you. Rat hole mining is a method of extracting coal from narrow horizontal seams. The term rat hole refers to narrow pits which are dug into the ground. The pits are just large enough for a person to descend and extract coal. Once the pits are dug, miners descend using ropes to reach the coal seams. Coal is then manually extracted using primitive tools such as pickaxes, shovels and baskets. Now, we also understand that rat hole mining can pose significant safety and environmental hazards for those involved in it. And the reason being that mines are typically unregulated and they lack safety measures. On your screens right now, what exactly is rat hole mining method? Authorities are gearing up with essential resources to promptly deliver medical assistance to the trapped workers once they are brought out. The relatives of 41 workers have been asked to be prepared and keep clothes and bags ready for the workers. They've also set up 41-bed hospital at the community health center in Chinyalisore. There are 41 ambulances ready to give quick first aid to the workers. These include life support ambulances as well as BLS ambulances. They've also put together a makeshift hospital with 8 beds which have been set up right at the site. 15-man NDRF team has been roped in to rescue the trapped workers as well. Also, a psychiatrist is present at the site to support the mental well-being of workers who've been trapped inside the tunnel for 17 long days. Let's listen in to what Chief Minister of Uttarakhand has to say on the entire rescue operation. Listen in.
आप लोग भी काफी दिनों से लगे हैं और सारे इंजीनियर, सारे विशेषज्ञ, सभी लोग अपने पूरे शिद्दत के साथ पूरे जितना जोर है सारा लगा रखा है और अभी 52 मीटर अभी अंदर चला गया है पाइप। हम उम्मीद कर रहे हैं कि जिस प्रकार से काम चल रहा है बहुत जल्दी ब्रेक थ्रू हो जाएगा और पाइप आर पार होते ही उन सबको निकालने की जो प्रक्रिया है उस प्रक्रिया को शुरू किया जाएगा। सभी लोग ठीक हैं और सब पूरी ऊर्जा के साथ और सभी एक सकारात्मक रूप से सभी के अंदर, मैंने सभी से भेंट की है, सभी को देखा है अंदर जितने भी लोग काम कर रहे हैं, सभी ने इस प्रकार की संभावना व्यक्त करी है। लगभग 52 मीटर जा चुका है। ऐसी संभावना है कि 57 मीटर के आसपास जो है ब्रेक थ्रू हो जाएगा। तो एक पूरा पाइप जब चला जाएगा, अभी 1 मीटर तो मेरे सामने ही गया है, तो पहले 51 था और 2 मीटर और चला जाएगा तो ये लगभग 54 मीटर हो जाएगा। इसके बाद एक पाइप और लगेगा। अभी तक देखिए जो बड़े जो शुरू में गडर्स इत्यादि स्टील्स मिल रहे थे वो मिलने कम हो गए। अभी जो मिल रहा है सीमेंट का ज्यादा कंक्रीट मिल रहा है, उसको कटर से काट रहे हैं।
Meanwhile, we should also get you some live updates from the site where our reporter is stationed. There is, of course, a bit of rain which has been reported on the site, but that, of course, should not in any way stymie the rescue operations which are now carrying out with a lot of energy, with a lot of commitment. And actually, there are some positive signs which are coming, but we'll have to wait and see how this entire operation goes, the rat hole mining technique, as it were. And a lot of teams are now standing by, a lot of engineers are at work, and also relatives of the 41 workers who've been stuck for 17 long days are there on the site, ready with clothes as well as bags. Also medical teams with one psychiatrist to help them tide over any kind of mental problems that they may be facing is on the site. And meanwhile, let me now go across to my colleague Shivang Mathur, who's been reporting and tracking this story since the day it broke. Shivang Mathur, if you can hear me.
Yes, Sudha, please go ahead.
Tell me, Shivang, bring us up to speed as to what the situation is right now at the site.
Well, Sudha, let me just show you the fresh pictures of Silkyara tunnel. Here the operation is underway, the rescue operation is underway right now. NDRF and SDRF team, they are waiting eagerly to go inside once they get the clearance from the authorities. So right now the situation looks better, the picture looks better here. There's a lot of positivity around, and we are hopeful that in another few hours there is a possibility that the officials are going to announce that this rescue operation is going to get over, and these people, the laborers, will be taken to the nearby hospital, which is just 35 kilometers from here. The hospital is ready, the doctors teams, they are also waiting for these people. The 41 ambulances are at the spot right now, and all the top authorities are here to provide the assistance. The 5 top agencies of this country, they are providing the assistance for this rescue operation. As you can see in the visuals, this is the track which they have just built. This is the route from where the ambulances will take off, and the NDRF people, you can see, they are also waiting. Once they get a clearance from the authorities, they are going to get these people out through these stretchers. They have built a stretcher in which they have put the wheels under, and they are going to go through the tunnel which they have built of the 800 pipes, and then they are going to get these people out. Sudha.
Shivang, tell me something. Although the officials have categorically said that the rains will in no way impact the rescue operations, you've been there, you spent the night there. I don't see rain around you, but bring us up to speed. Was there rain? Has it stopped now? Is it cloudy? How is it looking like when it comes to rain?
So that right now the weather looks quite fine. There's a bright sunlight here, and the weather looks fine. Authorities told us in this morning that rain is not going to affect the rescue operation as it is going under the tunnel, so there will be no problem. If we talk about the vertical drilling, let me show you the pictures of the vertical drilling on which it was taking place. If you look at the rock from the top, if the rain starts, then there will be a problem, because they have dig around 36 meters and they have to go till 86 meters. But I think that they will the approach of it's a plan B basically, but they are working hard on the plan A, which is going through inside the tunnel through the pipes which they have built, and the rescue operation will get over in another few hours. So the weather is fine. It's a cloudy weather right now, but it looks like that it is not going to affect the rescue operation. Authorities are quite hopeful. There will be another press conference at 1 p.m. Which we just came to know, and there's a possibility that we are going to get some good news from inside the tunnel.
Oh, and I hope to God. Shivang, before I let you go, I want to also ask you, we've been speaking to our viewers about rat hole mining technique. Can you show us the visuals of the pipe which is involved in the rat hole mining technique, which is used to extract coal, as it were? Where exactly is the rat hole mining technique being used?
See, Sudha, there was an American auger machine, as you know,
Yes.
which has already drilled around 45 meter.
Huh.
And beyond that, because the auger machine damaged, beyond that, we have to drill around 57 meters more. So basically, only 10 meter was left, and there was a technical glitches, there was a technical issue which we have faced, and due to which we have waited for almost 48 hours. But last evening, as the manual drilling has started under the supervision of Madras Regiment of the Indian Army, people have come from Jhansi, people have come from Mumbai, and these are the people who are, expert in working in such conditions where the oxygen level is quite low. So beyond 45 meter, they are working day and night. They are doing manual drilling, and if you look at this Silkyara tunnel, if you if you move inside the tunnel around 200 meter, then we can clearly elaborate about this rat hole technique. Basically, these people who have come from Jhansi and from Mumbai, they are drilling through the manual process. They are digging the tunnel from inside, and people also told us at this spot. Some of the electricians came out in this morning. They told me that they are hearing the voices of these 41 people. So yes, it's a good sign. It's a good news, and we also have to wait for another few hours to get the exact confirmation about these 41 laborers who are stuck inside.
Shivang Mathur, talking about good news, we heard that the relatives have already arrived with clothes and bags. Are they at the site where you are, or they have not yet arrived at the site?
Some of the relatives are here with the clothes and medicines, but let me tell you that there is a very less possibility that these people are going to meet the families right now. They are in a poor condition. So the authorities are clearly telling us that once the operation gets over, all these 41 ambulances will be, taking these laborers directly to the hospital, and then after a few hours, they are going to allow the relatives to meet their family members. Sudha.
Shivang Mathur, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. Thank you indeed. So there we heard from my colleague Shivang Mathur, and he says that, work is going on apace, and every man on the ground, every expert who's been called in from various states. He spoke about Jhansi. Of course, Madras Sappers has been there, deployed there since the day before yesterday. They are all working on what is now called vertical drilling and using the rat hole mining technique. My colleague feels that there can be good news, but we'll all have to wait until we finally see light at the end of this tunnel. 17 long days since 41 workers have been trapped inside the Silkyara tunnel in Uttarkashi, and now only waiting with bated breath when they come out absolutely safe and secure. Medical forces are there, ambulances have been deployed, also beds and a psychiatrist, and also relatives are waiting to get in touch with their beloveds once they are out after 17 long days. Machines and men both at work at the tunnel site to rescue the 41 workers who've been stuck for 17 days now. But today could be the day when they may just walk out safely. But we'll have to pray, much like what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said yesterday in Telangana. We'll have to pray and think positive that they will walk out finally to safety and to civilization, as it were. The drilling visuals, as it were, and that's what actually is most important now in this entire operation. 5 more meters away, kin of workers asked to be prepared. Almost 50 meters of horizontal drilling has been done, so both horizontal as well as vertical. Vertical 43 and horizontal, as we just told you, around 50, inching closer to trapped workers. And thankfully there is no rain as of now. But when we speak about 1 meter, it's not the 1 meter that you and I can possibly measure with our arms and say this is it. There are several complications involved. Of course, when we describe 1 meter in these young mountains, and those being the Himalayas, which are actually young mountains comparatively, relatively.
The following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being.
The Israel-Hamas war has now entered its 53rd day, and 7 days more and it will be 2 long months. Anyway, let's get you the latest update, which are coming up right on your screens right now. Israel and Hamas extend truce for 2 more days. 69 hostages so far have been released by Hamas. Total number of Palestinian prisoners released so far is 150. US Secretary of State is all set to travel to Israel sometime this week. Israel says that it shall fight with stronger force once the combat resumes. 40 trucks carrying humanitarian aid reach Gaza. 14,854 Palestinians, including 6,150 children, have so far been killed in the Gaza offensive. Let's talk about peace. Qatar managed to successfully extend the 4-day truce between Israeli troops and Hamas forces in Gaza by 2 more days. Qatar, along with Egypt, has been mediating the ceasefire through indirect negotiations in the region ravaged by war since the past 7 weeks. Let's take a look at this report.
A deal to extend a truce between Israeli troops and Hamas forces in Gaza by 2 days was agreed on Monday. That's according to mediator Qatar, which has been facilitating indirect negotiations between the two sides with Egypt. The agreement lengthens a 4-day ceasefire after 7 weeks of warfare, which has seen thousands killed and laid waste to the Palestinian enclave. Hamas also confirmed the extension. There was no immediate comment from Israel. The release of 11 more Israeli hostages seized by Hamas during its October 7th assault on southern Israel was confirmed on Monday. As dozens of Gazans rushed to get supplies from aid rations distributed by the UN on Monday, many described the dire living conditions that they expect to worsen if war resumes. Raider Mohammed Jamal al-Jabouri is one of them.
We wish that the truce would be permanent and people would go back to their lives and to see each other. People have lost their families and relatives, and we are not able to reach our families. We don't know who we lost and who was still alive. We are coming here to try and get some clothes for our children because we left everything in our house. Children are wearing summer clothes. This is not right. God willing, the truce will be extended and will stay in place. We don't want more war. This is enough. This is so tough on us.
On Sunday, Hamas freed 17 Israelis, including a 4-year-old Israeli-American girl, and Israel freed 39 teenage Palestinian prisoners. The truce, agreed last week, is the first halt in fighting since Hamas attacked Israel, when 1,200 people were killed and 240 hostages were taken back into Gaza. In Jerusalem, Israeli Anat Errol is also advocating for a pause in fighting.
I'm against all violence, and I really hope that there will be ceasefire, and I really hope that it will continue to be ceasefire, because violence is not a solution for anything. I mean, I know that those terrorists are like horrible, like they are. I can't even say they need to, of course, personally they need to be punished, but not all the other people in Gaza need to be punished.
In response to the October 7th attack, Israel has bombarded the Gaza Strip and mounted a ground offensive in the north. As of Monday, Gaza health authorities say some 14,800 Palestinians have been killed. Hundreds of thousands have been displaced.
On Monday, Israel said 11 Israelis had returned to the country from the Gaza Strip, bringing the total of Israeli and foreign hostages the Islamist Palestinian group Hamas has freed since Friday under the 4-day truce to 69. The Israel Prison Service said 33 Palestinian prisoners were released on Monday from Israel's Ofer prison in the West Bank and from a detention center in Jerusalem, bringing the total number of Palestinians it has freed since Friday to 150. Israeli forces clashed with some of the dozens of the Palestinians who had gathered outside Ofer prison near Ramallah in the occupied West Bank to await the release of Palestinian prisoners, the Palestinian Health Ministry said. Some of the protesters waved flags of Hamas and Islamic Jihad, another Palestinian militant group. The ministry said a Palestinian was killed in the area and that it was unclear if he had participated in the clashes at all. Palestinian media reported he was shot dead. Israel had no immediate comment on the incident, however. In response to the 7th October's attack, Israel has murdered the Gaza Strip and mounted a ground offensive in the north. More than 14,000 Palestinians have been killed. Gaza's Hamas-run government says, and hundreds of thousands have been displaced. Qatar, which along with Egypt has facilitated indirect talks between the two sides, said that there was an agreement to extend by 2 days the original 4-day truce that was to expire on Monday. The United Nations Relief Agency, UNRWA, said it's seeking to deliver aid into northern Gaza as the truce between Hamas and Israel is extended. Trucks carrying aid and ambulances were seen lined up and moving. Officials belonging to UNRWA said that they are awaiting for clearance to go through the Israeli control zone. The Israeli military released a video set to show Gaza-bound aid trucks at a border crossing with Egypt. In an accompanying statement posted on Telegram, the Israeli military said there were 200 trucks and they would undergo an inspection first before heading to Egypt's Rafah border crossing, through which humanitarian aid into Gaza is delivered. 42 trucks of those trucks were loaded with shelter equipment. Separately, an official said that Israel would allow a dramatic increase in aid to Gaza in the coming days, calling on Palestinian civilians to head to what it described as a humanitarian zone in the south of the territory. Along the roads near Gaza City, dozens of displaced Palestinians headed south carrying their belongings as they tried to find both food and shelter. Many Palestinians were on foot, walking amongst the rubble, as well as mudded roads, while military tanks could be seen in the distance. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have been displaced from their homes in the north of the Gaza Strip since the start of the war on 7th of October. Israel has told displaced Gazans not to attempt to return to the northern part of the Gaza Strip. Gazans have used the truce between Hamas and Israel to take a breather by the beach after 7 weeks of continuous war. Some of them said they don't have homes to go back to, and others are mulling actually crossing over to Egypt through the Rafah crossing. Moving on, a handful of protesters have braved the rain in Jerusalem to call on the United Nations to speak about women they say were subjected to sexual violence by Hamas terrorists on 7th of October. They demonstrated in front of the UN building in Jerusalem as Israel was holding a meeting at the Geneva headquarters to raise awareness of Hamas sexual violence. There's growing evidence that points to sexual crimes during the most deadly attack on Israel in its history, such as victims found disrobed as well as mutilated. Israeli authorities have opened an investigation into sexual violence perpetrated during the Hamas attack, including rape. An Israeli man was extremely relieved when he was reunited with his wife and 3 children upon their release after 52 days in captivity by Palestinian militant group Hamas. The 4 hostages were brought to the Schneider Children's Medical Center for checkups as well as treatment. The family was photographed as they were united with Avichai, Brods. On the morning of 7th October, Hamas terrorists attacked the kibbutz of Kfar Aza, and Avichai Brods placed his wife Hagar and 3 children in a safe room before going out to defend their home and the community. When he returned, Hagar and 4-year-old Uriah, 8-year-old Yuval and 10-year-old Ofrei, together with a family friend, 4-year-old Abigail Edan, had disappeared. They were taken by the Hamas militants and held hostage with more than 200 other people in Gaza. The 4 Brods family members, together with Israeli-American Abigail Eden, were returned to Israel after a temporary ceasefire deal brokered between Israel and Hamas. Elon Musk toured with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the ruins of Israeli kibbutz of Kfar Aza near the border with Gaza. Israel hosted Elon Musk, saying it had reached an agreement in principle for using his SpaceX company Starlink communications in the Gaza Strip, where a pause to the war against Hamas coincided with the tech entrepreneur's visit. Musk's office has yet to comment on the trip. Netanyahu discussed with Musk the security aspects of artificial intelligence and also held a live online discussion, Netanyahu's office said.
But it's holding shells, specifically of the Negev, that was used here in order to protect the people.
The terrorist organizations are increasingly engaging with the crypto sector and exploiting developments in blockchain technology in order to raise funds and evade detection from authorities. A new front has emerged in Israel's fight against militant financing of groups such as Hamas or Hezbollah, and this front is a fast emerging blockchain known as Tron. Take a look at this report.
A new front has emerged in Israel's fight against militant financing of groups such as Hamas or Hezbollah. And this front is a fast emerging blockchain known as Tron. So Tron is what's known as a blockchain. That is essentially the infrastructure that's used to send and receive cryptocurrencies. Tron has overtaken Bitcoin, which is by far the largest cryptocurrency and blockchain out there, as the predominant platform for transfers associated with groups designated as terrorist organizations by Israel and the United States. That's according to a Reuters analysis of several years of Israeli cryptocurrency seizures that identified crypto wallets as being linked to these groups. It's grown quite popular because of 3 main reasons. It's very quick, it's very cheap, and it's become quite difficult for blockchain analysis companies and law enforcement to track. Since the October 7th attacks on southern Israel by Hamas, Israel has started a bombardment and ground invasion of the Gaza Strip that has killed around 14,000 people. Israel has also stepped up scrutiny of how the militant group is raising money in general. Since 2021, Israel's counter-terrorist financing authorities have seized about 140 Tron cryptocurrency wallets that it said were linked to militant groups. Of these seizures, about 2/3 have come this year, including 39 wallets that Israel said were linked to the Lebanese organization Hezbollah. Reuters was not able to independently establish a link between cryptocurrency wallets Israel's counter-terrorist financing body seized and militant groups such as Hamas, Hezbollah, or Palestinian Islamic Jihad.
And in other international stories, Prince William, a patron of the charity Tusk since 2005, bestowed awards on 3 individuals at the ceremony, highlighting the accomplishments of conservationists and wildlife rangers in Africa. In his remarks, he emphasized the disproportionate impact of a warming planet on Africa's people and biodiversity, noting that those most affected are often not the main drivers of these impacts.
Are you Jason Eaton?
Yes. On a remote video feed from a county jail in Vermont, the suspect in the shooting of 3 college students of Palestinian descent over the weekend pleaded not guilty on Monday to 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder.
Mr. Eaton, for the time being at least, you're being held without bail.
Police say Jason Eaton used a pistol to shoot the 3 victims on the street near the University of Vermont in Burlington on Saturday evening, and then ran away.
This horrific, unprovoked attack was a tragic violation of the values and character of this welcoming, inclusive community.
The mayor of Burlington, Merle Weinberger, spoke at a news conference after the arraignment, alongside the city's police chief, John Murad.
I want to acknowledge that 3 young men have been the victims of an unprovoked and terrible crime, and that their lives have been changed forever. One in particular faces a tremendous struggle and recovery with injuries that may be lifelong.
The state's attorney for Chittenden County, Sarah Fairgeorge, said the attack is under investigation as a suspected hate-motivated crime.
And although we do not yet have evidence to support a hate crime enhancement, I do want to be clear that there is no question this was a hateful act.
All 3 of the victims are 20 years old. 2 are U.S. citizens and the 3rd is a legal U.S. resident, according to police. At the time of the shooting, the victims were reported to have been speaking Arabic. 2 were wearing a keffiyeh, the traditional black and white checkered headscarf commonly worn in the Middle East.
The President and the First Lady were horrified to learn about the 3 college students of Palestinian descent, 2 of whom are American citizens who were shot Saturday in Burlington, Vermont.
White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre addressed the shooting at Monday's press briefing.
While we are waiting for more facts, we know this. There is absolutely no place for violence or hate in America. No person should worry about being targeted while going about their daily lives.
The shooting came amid a rise in anti-Islamic and anti-Semitic incidents reported around the United States since the conflict between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas erupted on October 7th.
Like the spokesperson from the White House was saying, the news about following the shooting of 3 college students who were of Palestinian descent in Vermont, and the suspect said that he does not plead guilty. The judge, however, ordered the suspect to be held without a bond. That's the story you just took a look at. Moving on, Prince William, a patron of the charity Tusk since 2005, bestowed awards on 3 individuals at the ceremony, highlighting the accomplishments of conservationists and wildlife rangers in Africa. In his remarks, Prince William emphasized the disproportionate impact of a warming planet on Africa's people and biodiversity, noting that those most affected are often not the main drivers of these impacts.
It is also a reminder that Africa, its people, and its biodiversity are disproportionately affected by the impacts of a warming planet. Impacts which are, for the most part, not driven by those most affected. There must be no let-up in our collective efforts to stem the terrifying loss of species and habitats we're all bearing witness to. Thank you for being here tonight to celebrate the remarkable individuals that are leading those efforts to ensure we all can live on a healthier planet. I wish you all an enjoyable evening.
And Australia gears up to ban disposable vapes in January as part of a crackdown on the rising popularity of nicotine-filled devices amongst the youth. This announcement was made by Health Minister Mark Butler. March will see an expansion of this ban to encompass all non-therapeutic vapes, requiring importers of medical vapes to obtain permits from the Office of Drug Control. Additionally, a legislative package will allocate an extra $75 million to the Australian Border Forces and the Therapeutic Goods Administration to bolster enforcement of these new regulations. Let's listen in to what the Australian Health Minister had to say on the issue.
Next month, the government will be presenting to the Governor-General a regulation for his signature to prohibit the import of all disposable vapes from the 1st of January next year, from New Year's Day. These are the vapes that are deliberately sold to our kids. These are the vapes that have pink unicorns on them, bubblegum flavouring, disguised in order for them to hide them in their pencil cases. This is not a therapeutic good to help hardened smokers kick the habit. This is a good that is deliberately targeted at our kids to recruit them to nicotine addiction and then to cigarette smoking. Still the biggest preventable cause of death in Australia, and we are determined to stamp it out.
Greek Prime Minister Mitsotakis accuses British counterpart Rishi Sunak of cancelling a scheduled meeting amid an ongoing dispute over the Parthenon sculptures, a contentious issue that has strained relations between the two countries for centuries. Take a look.
Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis accused his British counterpart Rishi Sunak of cancelling a Tuesday meeting in an ongoing row over the Parthenon sculptures, which have been a sore subject between the two countries for centuries. Mitsotakis said in a statement, quote, "I express my annoyance that the British Prime Minister cancelled our planned meeting just hours before it was due to take place. Greece has repeatedly asked Britain to permanently return the 2,500-year-old sculptures. A British diplomat took them from the Parthenon temple in the early 19th century. Mitsotakis told the BBC on Sunday it was not a question of ownership, but reunification, and that you would not, quote, cut the Mona Lisa in half. When asked about Mitsotakis' statement about the meeting, Sunak's office said Britain's relationship with Greece was, quote, hugely important, and that the countries needed to work together on global challenges. It added that Sunak's deputy was available to meet Mitsotakis to discuss the issue instead. The British government has long ruled out giving up ownership of the marbles and maintains they were legally acquired. The Greek government has been in talks with the British Museum on a possible loan deal, but a spokesperson for Sunak said there were no plans to return the sculptures.
Tragedy struck Sierra Leone as 20 lives were lost and almost 2,000 inmates escaped during a Sunday attack on a military barracks, prison and multiple locations. Gunfire echoed through Freetown as assailants targeted these sites. According to an army spokesperson, the casualties comprised 13 soldiers, 3 assailants, a police officer, a civilian, and a private security worker. Take a look.
Sierra Leone authorities said Monday that 20 people were killed and nearly 2,000 prisoners escaped during Sunday's attack on the capital. Gunfire was heard ringing out across Freetown as assailants targeted a military barracks, a prison, and other locations. An army spokesperson told Reuters that the 20 dead included 13 soldiers, 3 assailants, a police officer, a civilian, and someone working in private security. The government has since reduced an all-day curfew to a nightly one, and police were checking vehicles at checkpoints. Shops and businesses started to reopen on Monday afternoon, but the fear among residents remains. This woman says it was the first time she had heard a gunshot and that she hid under her bed. The government blamed the attacks on renegade soldiers, and this resident recalled encountering them.
Military vehicles approached us and some of the officers said we should shout forcefully, "President Mada Bio must go." Some of us wanted to answer and some refused to shout. We asked him for which reason we should say that, and he responded by asking if we had the ability to buy expensive bags of rice.
Hours after the rampage, President Julius Maada Bio assured citizens calm had been restored and that the attackers would be held to account. Last year, anti-government protests erupted over soaring living costs, and at least 21 civilians were killed in the unrest. Sierra Leone, which is still recovering from a 1991 to 2002 civil war in which more than 50,000 were killed, has been tense since Bio was re-elected in June.
LeBron James, the basketball legend, now has a museum honoring his life and achievements in his hometown, Akron, in Ohio. The museum takes visitors on a journey through James's early days, NBA career, and several other significant milestones. Providing an insider's look into the life of this NBA All-Star, the museum recently welcomed James and his Lakers teammates for an exclusive tour. Situated in the heart of Akron, the museum offers a captivating experience. Guests begin their visit with an immersive multimedia journey, stepping into a recreation of James's childhood apartment from the Spring Hill neighborhood, furnished with personal items spanning the 20-year NBA veteran's remarkable journey. This exhibition promises an intimate glimpse into James's past. Even as the global community grapples with the urgent need to combat climate change, all eyes are set on the upcoming COP28 UN Climate Summit set to unfold in Dubai from 30th of November to the 12th of December. Take a look.
Each country has its own agenda for the nearly 200 nations gathering at COP28 in Dubai. And finding consensus is a challenge, as UN climate negotiations need unanimous support to pass. Here are some of the climate summit's main players and what they're looking for. China, the world leader in both clean and dirty energy. It's responsible for 30% of annual global emissions, making it the world's biggest greenhouse gas emitter. But it also has more renewable energy capacity than anywhere else. China has been feeling the impacts of climate change through heat waves, floods, and extreme drought. Despite having the world's second largest economy after the US, it sees itself as a developing nation in climate talks and argues wealthy, developed nations like the US should move first and fastest in policy and finance. It's part of the bloc of basic countries alongside South Africa, Brazil, and India, who argue the same. The United States is the world's second largest emitter. It comes to COP28 a year into rolling out a $369 billion plus subsidy package for electric vehicles and other green products. Its Inflation Reduction Act is expected to triple the country's clean energy capacity by 2030. But U.S. delegates will face pressure at COP28 after Washington pledged no new climate cash to the United Nations this year. It supports a COP28 deal to phase out CO2-emitting fossil fuel use, despite being the world's biggest oil and gas producer. The 27-country European Union is among the most ambitious. The bloc, along with the U.S., is pushing to triple renewable capacity. It also aims to end new coal-fueled power plants, phase out fossil fuels, and power electricity grids with renewable sources in the 2030s. African countries are pushing for climate finance to speed up green energy projects. But not everyone's on the same page. Some, like Kenya, Ethiopia, and Senegal, have backed calls for phasing out fossil fuel production. Others, like Mozambique, want to develop their reserve of gas to capitalize off European gas demands. But they do agree that any deal on phasing out fossil fuels must allow poor nations to develop reserves in the short term to alleviate energy poverty.
And that's all we have in this bulletin. For all the news and updates, keep watching News 9 Live. Thank you for watching.
With all this gear, you must be wondering if I'm climbing a mountain. Well, let me give you a wider look of this place. This is Asia's largest mountain of shame.
A mountain of waste, almost the height of the Qutub Minar.
When you enter capital cities of some of the biggest countries,